of course it doesn't go well, and like, I knew I shouldn't say anything, and then we clam up again. But that's because we're not effective, and yet we could be if we knew how.
Welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Eat.
Welcome back. I have a rash. Covered in a rash. Last week it was a cyst. This week it's a rash. Third doctor's appointment in 2 weeks. What the fuck?
Should we be a medical podcast?
I couldn't fuck if I wanted to. I got guys in town this weekend that I'm excited about. I have guys DMing me. I have guys stalking me, trying to come to my show tomorrow. And my body's not ready.
I can't relate because you had a slutty summer and everybody wanted you, and I didn't fuck it all summer, and I am ready to go. My titties are ready. I showed our publicist my boobs this morning. She was like, "They look that good."
You're rash free, butt crack cyst free. You are ready to fucking rock it.
Let's go.
Ready for Thottum. Hot girl Thottum.
All right, before we get into it, we're just going to thank some of our great partners. Thanks to Nutrafol for supporting Girls Gotta Eat. It's time to join the thousands of women standing up for their strands. You can grow thicker, healthier hair at Nutrafol.com/GGE to save $15 off your first month subscription, plus free shipping on every order. And thanks to Blue Land for supporting Girls Gotta Eat. Blue Land is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastics by reinventing home essentials that are good for you and the planet. Right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/GGE.
Yes, and thanks to Pretty Litter for supporting Girls Gotta Eat. Pretty Litter ships free to your door in a small, lightweight bag. Go to prettylitter.com/GGE to save 20% on your first order. And big shout out today to Helix Sleep. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Find your perfect mattress and up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows at helixsleep.com/GGE. So much to announce, but I have a rash, and I'm going to go to the doctor right after this. And you know what? I wanted to plug one of our
Your rash
sponsor. I would love to. And I also have no idea how I got this, whatever. But I use ZocDoc to book a same-day appointment. They are one of our partners. You might hear them on some of the older episodes, and we love them. It's so easy to just search by who takes your insurance, or if you want to pay out of pocket, and then same day appointment.
Yeah.
So I'm going back to the first dermatologist that put a needle in my butt crack 2 weeks ago. She's going to be like, this bitch is fucked up.
She's going to be like, what is that? Ashley, you need to go to a therapist. What's going on? Well, I felt really bad this morning. You sent me a photo of it. And I start to panic when I get a mosquito bite. If anything is going on with my skin, I full on panic.
It's insane looking. It's just getting worse. It's spreading. It doesn't itch. So don't DM me. By this point, I've seen a doctor.
She's probably got a new ailment, honestly. By the time you DM her, she's in a new doctor.
But can I just say this? And then I know you want to speak on this too. I have never in my life gotten so many DMs about something than the cyst that I talked about last week. I'm starting a new podcast called Sisters, spelled CYSTERS. Me and all my sisters. All you guys are in the DMs. It's such a common thing. Everyone, whether they've had the actual pilonidal cyst or just what I had, so many DMs, so many concerned and funny DMs, and thanking me for normalizing this embarrassing thing that's in your butt. And I just was like, this is my new brand, Sisters, forever.
Can I be a part of it? We co-hosting?
Well, do you have a cyst?
I'll get it, but I'm your sister.
I'll tell you how to get one.
Okay.
I'll walk you through. But you got a ton of amazing messages too.
Well, it's just I can't stop saying it. It's so funny because Ashley and I got exactly the same messages following last week's episode saying thank you so much for talking about this. Thank you so much for normalizing this. Mine was about my relationship with my mom, and Ashley was about her butthole. The messages were the same. Yeah. But we do want to say thank you so much. Wow. The response to last week's episode about mother-daughter relationships and repairing them, it definitely applies to just parent-child relationships in general. I thought it was really applicable to really any parent-child relationship. But I talked about my mom and my relationship with her, and you guys just sent the most beautiful messages thanking me for being vulnerable and open and normalizing, that you aren't best friends with your mom necessarily, and you want to be, and wanting to try to change it, or maybe you don't want to be best friends, but friends.
Coexist.
I just wanted to say thank you. Ashley and I both do. So thank you. If you guys haven't listened, that was the episode from last Monday, so check it out.
people were asking about an episode about dads, like daddy issues. And I think that gets covered a lot in different places. I know we've talked about relationships with fathers and things like that, but we're definitely on it. I want to dive into that with a professional as well coming soon. So we'll do a daddy issues episode for you guys.
Yeah, we love these family episodes. Okay, we are really excited to say this. I feel really emotional because we told you guys we were not going to be on tour for quite a while. We were going to be announcing a tour, but ahead of that, we just couldn't let you guys down. It's our tradition every single year. So announcing the Girls Gotta Eat holiday show live from the Apollo Theater, December 15th. We are so excited. I'm sorry for yelling. I feel really emotional. This is our tradition every single year. So of course we're honoring it. We cannot wait to see you in New York City Thursday night at the Apollo in December.
Yes, I cannot wait. This was a venue that is so iconic and we wanted to do before. We just love this Girls Gotta Eat live from the Apollo. And this will be our 4th year of holiday shows. We did them in 2018, 2019. We did it from the kitchen in 2025. 5 years.
One in the kitchen.
2018. Let's can I reminisce? You know I love nostalgia.
Hit me.
2018 Gramercy Theater. 2019 Town Hall. 2020 kitchen. Party City streamer backdrop. 2021 Beacon. 2022 Apollo. Like it's really, we just have to do it. Tradition.
Yes. And if you guys haven't been before, it is our craziest show of the year. We have so much entertainment, so much wild stuff goes on. We have guests. Last year we had the Brooklyn Nets open the show.
Oh my gosh.
Fun dancers. Ashley gifted me a stripper last year. I don't even know what she's going to gift me this year.
Oh my God. I mean, well, the strippers are just, they come now with the show. Like it'll be an even bigger, better gift.
Someone's going to eat my pussy on stage this year.
We're going to have a pussy eat off.
You know I don't like it. There's a guy. You're gonna bring out you're gonna bring out a guy and I get to suck his dick.
What if like we did a dick sucking contest at the show? People are like, this is not okay.
But I
like,
was the only contestant.
But it's like we do it so obviously we're not showing like pornographic. All you see is like the guy's face. His head is in one of those like cutouts, like
his
you
body's
see
in a
it
box.
like a theme park.
I suck it
or
through
we
the
put him in a
hole.
box like a magician.
Yeah,
like.
But who's the? So in my mind, 3 guys come out and I suck all their dicks.
Graphic.
This is really fucked up. But am I the only contestant? Is my question. Is that my gift?
Okay, you guys, you can apply by emailing blowjobs@girlsgottaeatpodcast.com.
Now we're gonna get that email address. Good Morning America wanted to know if we had any clean clips. This is probably not what we're going to send them. We're also on Tamron Hall tomorrow, so you guys can check that out.
Check us out on Tamron Hall. We did this GMA 3. It was a great experience.
Yeah, it was.
But it's a challenge to find things that are daytime TV friendly, even nighttime TV friendly, like for what we do because of cursing, all the sex talk, and
the wallpaper.
Like we were sending clips from the studio and they were like, we can't show your titty wallpaper. We were like, oh, right.
They said even cartoon tits.
I mean, I do understand it.
Yeah,
whatever.
of course
it's
I
fine.
understand.
This is like no shade. It's what it is. But we had a really fun experience.
So, live show, holidays. We're so excited. Get the tickets for that. They're going to go really fast. We've been getting so many messages about it.
So they are going to go on sale next Monday if you're listening the week that this comes out. So Monday is October 3rd.
At 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Is October 3rd the Mean Girls Day?
No, that's
October 4th.
April 4th.
No. I'm thinking of when Aaron Samuels asked.
Yeah, I am too. On October 4th.
It's October 3rd. Hold on. Yes, Mean Girls October 3rd. So Mean Girls Day, October 3rd, we're at 10 a.m. The tickets will go on 10 a.m. Eastern time. They will go on sale and snatch those up.
Yep. You can get that at girlsgottaeatpodcast.com. And if you're new here, every episode we've ever done is on the website, so you can look for new topics if you want. All of our partners are there as well. Everything for Vibes Only. You can go ahead and navigate over there from Girls Gotta Eat website as well. So everything is there that you need.
Yes. And if you're new here, I am a stand-up comedian and I do shows of my own. And they're really fun. And I have shows starting again in November. And I have shows in Denver that they're all sold out for 4 shows. Thank you guys for scooping up on those tickets. But then following weekend, I will be in Nashville at Zanies, which is a club that Rayna and I love so much. And we love performing there. Love Nashville. I'll be at Zanies on Thursday, the 10th. And then I will be headlining the Red Clay Festival in Atlanta on November 13th. So that's a Sunday, 7 o'clock, Variety Playhouse. This will be, I think, my first theater solo show. I've been doing all these comedy clubs, which I love a comedy club, but I'm headlining this festival. You can buy individual tickets to my show. It's not any different than a regular show. It's just going to be in a bigger, better venue. I'll have some fun openers. So if you see festival and you're like, well, I just want to go to a regular stand-up show, this is going to be that. I'm going to be doing my hour and it'll be really fun and crazy. And I'm, started comedy in Atlanta. I lived there for 10 years, so it feels like a hometown show for me. So if you guys want to come see me do stand-up, Nashville, November 10th and Atlanta, November 13th. And you can go to ashhess.com.
I've seen it. It's pretty good.
Thanks.
Pretty good. No, Ashley's great. And you guys will love her show. It is so much fun. So I co-sign and I think you should go see it. And we will announce a tour after that, probably closer to Thanksgiving. So grab the tickets to see Ashley. And as soon as you do that, we will announce a tour for the winter and the spring. We'll get all that out for you so you can buy it for holiday tickets.
You have to get my tickets for grab the tickets to see Ashley. Yeah. If my shows aren't sold out, we're not doing
a tour for girls. I'm just kidding. Yes, we are. If I don't get on tour soon, I'm going to not be okay.
No. You got to show these titties off. Yeah. I got to show my rash off.
She got to show her butthole.
I'll have something going on.
Yeah, something will be wrong.
Missing a limb by then. Something will have
3 fingers
fallen off.
She can't hold the mic. She doesn't have a thumb. But you'll be able to get those for holiday gifts, the tickets that we have. So, yeah. And then speaking of gifts, if you guys listened last week, we'll make this really quick. If you know our company, Vibes Only, it is an incredible line of Bluetooth connected sex toys with an app that has erotic audio experiences. And there is a controller for your sex toys. We have opened up the app. The controller is now free. So the controller that controls your sex toys, free. Do you hear me? Free. Get in there, use it. It's so cool. And then also we've unlocked some of the content so you can get into the app, play around, see if you like it. You'll love it. We're confident.
Yeah. So totally for free, you can go in there and you can see the whole app. So if you were like, what is this? Now you can see it and you can listen to some of these audio experiences in the full way that subscribers do. So you'll connect your vibrator if you want to. You'll be prompted to connect. It's super easy. And then there are tutorials. There are actually video tutorials in there as well. If you're like, how do I connect this? What do I do? There's videos in the app and we've unlocked the tutorial ones all for free as well. And those are Rayna and I telling you guys how to use it. So really get in there. There's some of the hot stories. There is the beginning of this BDSM series, one of the sexiest voices in the app. That's for free. So listen to that, get a taste. And then if you want to subscribe, we hope that you do. There's so much more like it. But again, the standard controller, we are going to add some features down the road. But as it stands right now, the controller that we offer is free. And we hope that you'll subscribe. So everything is at vibesonly.com and you can get the app for iPhone and Android.
Yeah. All right. That's it. That's us plugging our stuff. Okay. What else do we have going on?
So I have my first Indian wedding this weekend.
I'm so jealous.
Which a few people are like, this is the first Indian wedding you've ever been to. I mean, I have a lot of Indian friends. Some are single, some I think are soon to be married, and some are already married. And I feel like this is like such a weird thing when you become friends with somebody. Like two of my very, very close friends, you're friends with them now too.
More your friends.
They're more my friends. We became so close. They got married before I became friends with them. And it's so weird to be like, I wasn't at your wedding, and I've seen like all this footage. Like one night our other friend sat me down and walked me through all 4 days of their wedding. And I was like almost in tears that I wasn't there. Like it breaks your heart. So this is actually the first time it's aligned where I'm going to the wedding and doing all the things, getting the mendi,
the
henna stuff tomorrow. And then, it'll be over as you guys listen to this, but then like there's a party on Friday and then the wedding's on Saturday. And I had to get this like really cool outfit. It's like all sequins, very mermaidy. So I'm really excited.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I know. Sorry. I'm like rubbing your face.
No, I'm really excited. This is a friend of mine, but this is a birthday party friend, not a wedding friend for me.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
She's wonderful.
Yes. But I know so much about these weddings. I've talked to so many friends about their weddings and there's just so much fun stuff that happens. And the fashion is so fun to wear and just have like a totally different look than you would normally wear. And it was just like fun consulting with my friends about like, can I wear this? Can I really wear a crop top? Like, is that what we're doing? They're like, yeah, girl, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
So I'm excited. That's like what I have going on now. We're recording on Wednesday, literally Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. This is like dominating my weekend, which I love.
Have you asked about, have you scoped the single men at the wedding?
I I think it's a pretty large wedding, and I think there will be a good amount.
And then we've talked about being single at weddings before in other episodes, but just like because we haven't touched on it in a while, how do you feel about being single at this wedding?
Great. I mean, I don't even know if I got a +1. I don't maybe think I did. I don't know. But I don't have a partner. So I think we have maybe 5 girlfriends that are we're all going to go together. So we're single and it's just going to be really fun.
I love that.
I can't wait. We're rolling deep.
I keep saying I'm gonna have to like take a trip this weekend or something. I don't know how to get through this. I'm going to a party on Friday. I've been saying yes to more things lately because I say no to most stuff. So I'm gonna go to a party on Friday and meet guys. You meet guys at this Indian wedding.
Yeah. Well, you might have somebody else in the mix.
I do. I'm excited. So every few months, you guys, I recommit to dating. I hadn't been feeling like great about my body before the second breast reduction, and now I feel great about it. And I feel like they've healed really well, and I'm just like ready to get out there and get naked in front of people. So
love it.
I'm excited. I reached out to somebody because you and I were talking about just like, because I don't really like dating apps. So of course, like you should revert to either somebody you know or a friend of a friend. So I reached out to, it's a throwback from winter time, but Dallas business card guy.
Yes.
And he's going to be here this weekend. And I will listen. He texted me a few times over the spring and I was really busy. We were on tour and it's very hard to get a hold of me when we're on tour. I just forget to respond to people. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but he did send me 3 unanswered texts and it was rude of me. It was. And then a week later, I just felt like, I don't even know if I want to address this, whatever, I'll let it go.
Right.
So the other day, Ashley was like, you should text him. His business card lives on our coffee table.
His business card follows Rayna around. I had to take a picture of something for Vibes the other day. We're doing like a really fun set for the holidays, just a little teaser. And I had to take a picture for her of something for it to see if something fit correctly. And I just held his business card up in the photo. I'm trying to find, here it is. I'm trying to fuck you, not hire you. This clip is from February 1st. So the episode that coincided with February 1st, it was probably January 28th or something. If that you want to hear the Dallas business card guy story, it's a personal fave. And we were talking about just dating and like, I've been having a lot of deeper conversations with friends about my dating life and like what I'm looking for and how I'm feeling about everything. And we were kind of having that about you. And I was like, I think you should reach out to that guy. I just think it's like physically, he's your type. He's great. Let's not like discount these people that we already know that we may have bypassed because they don't live around here or whatever reason. And so I encouraged you to reach out.
Yes. Just like she encouraged me to be in my last relationship. We were laughing at it earlier because she did, but I don't regret that relationship. It was a great relationship. So this guy had texted me 3 times and I didn't answer. So I texted him. I didn't even tell you this. This is so embarrassing, Ashley.
Rayna, what?
It was so humiliating. I was like, I'm going to get back in there. I saw that for whatever reason, don't worry about why. I saw he was going to be here on Monday. So,
which like is so perfect. We were like, let's check the internet to see why he might be here. And he was. It's like, it's kismet.
I reached out to him. I had all the time in the world. I had 6 months to write this text message.
Did you have a typo?
I had a huge typo.
No.
I said this maybe a little bit out of the blue, but any chance they're coming to New York for blah, blah. I wrote there instead of your.
What?
I was like a bottle of wine deep. I type a text. I'm like, killed it. Send. And then
they're like,
any chance they're coming
like,
to New York?
who are they?
And then I panicked.
No. Oh, God. And then what?
I panicked and sent another text. And I wrote, I should probably type this correctly, LOL. He just doesn't respond.
Oh, no.
And I was like, honestly, that's fair. He sent me a bunch of texts in the spring. I never responded. I understand somebody being like, also, it doesn't matter why, but the context of the text I didn't read is it kind of sounded like I was asking him for tickets to something. So anyways, I was like, okay, you get 2 text messages. I'll follow up with somebody if they don't respond, whatever. So I followed up last night and I said, well, if you are going to be here, we should grab a drink. If you have a night off from work, whatever. And whatever. I said I figured I'd ask, smiley face. And then I sent that off last night and he didn't respond this morning on the way to like Good Morning America. I was like all bummed. I was like, you know what? I kind of deserve it. Listen, I ghost out of it. It was like whatever. And I didn't feel bad. I felt like you send 2 texts, you get 2 texts. But then he did respond right before we went to the set. So that was nice. So he'll be here this weekend. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
But he has some work commitments ahead of time, so I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, he's here on a work trip, so if it works out, it works out.
But the takeaway for me is I think you get 2 texts. I think that like one time is fine if somebody doesn't respond. Second time, I don't think there's anything embarrassing about following up. I would never send a third text under any circumstances in the world.
No. I did that too.
Fine.
I've been talking to this guy on Raya, and I was looking forward to like potentially meeting up with him, and I had sent him a text like because we matched, a month ago or mid August. Like I feel like when we were like in Dewey around that time. Yeah, it was about when we were Dewey, and then I was gonna see him like this week in New York or maybe last week in LA. Like it's also just fine to forget about these people. I mean, they like live in your phone. They're strangers. It's like, I don't take it personally and I've done it, we've all done it, but I was interested. So I like shot him a text or a, message before Labor Day, like have any plans for the weekend? And he didn't ever respond. And I was like, all right, well, whatever. Like I'm a stranger. I've done this to people. He could have been dating somebody by now. He could not be in this app. Like so many people have these apps that they just like don't look at for weeks, months on end, whatever. I just don't.
I mean, I met this guy personally. I thought he was cute. I liked him. And I was like, I'm busy and I forgot.
So then I saw that he was in New York this week. So I just like shot him another text. Raya tells you like where people are if you have that enabled, I guess. So just shot him another message, and if I don't hear back, it's like, fine. I don't know this person. I mean, my situation is a little bit different, but I do think like you can do that follow up or not. Like, I think it's fine not to. And maybe we'll discuss next week something when we have a little bit more time to dive into something that's been happening to me where guys are like so over the top and it feels like aggressive and the nonstop of unanswered messages, and then they've been showing up. We'll talk about next week. I'll unpack it for you guys, and we'll see what you think. So teaser for next week.
It's
but
a juicy tea.
It's kind of crazy. But let's all wish Rayna luck for the weekend and take a very quick break. I am telling you guys about Pretty Litter. You can always count on your cats to keep you entertained, to just be wiling out all the time. But you know what else you can always count on is Pretty Litter, because it is the world's smartest litter, and here's why. The thing that's so cool is that the crystals change color to help detect early signs of potential illness, like urinary tract infections, bladder crystals, anything that's really can be going on with the cat. So it gives you better peace of mind. It's just so important. All you guys want to do, pet owners, you want to keep your pet as healthy as possible. Cats can sometimes mask their illness. This is a surefire way to tell what is going on inside their body that you can't see. And it's lightweight, dust-free. It works for up to a month without clumping. There's really no smell. It's so incredible. Once you try this, you will truly never go back. Those crystals don't like fly out of the box and get under your feet. The bag comes to you in a small, lightweight bag. And again, if you're like keeping your litter box in the bathroom or whatever, it just is not going to smell. It's going to be those lightweight, dust-free litter. It's great. Say goodbye to smelly, clumpy litter forever. And again, you're going to have peace of mind with your pet's health because of Pretty Litter's health detector. So once you try Pretty Litter, it'll be the only litter you ever use. Go to prettylitter.com/GGE to save 20% on your first order. That's prettylitter.com/GGE to save 20% on your first order. prettylitter.com/GGE.
Yeah. And I would say that partner and this next one, we get tons of tags for them, and people are always saying how much they love them. So our audience's feedback on this is really great too. And speaking of that, their feedback on this partner, unbelievable. So if you guys ever feel overwhelmed by the number of plastic bottles and containers you're throwing away, or if you have green products that you've bought and you feel are kind of pricey and ineffective, we have an answer for that, and that is Blue Land. We love Blue Land products, and we have an offer for you. Try Blue Land and get 15% off your first order at blueland.com/GGE. You'll love it, and the planet will thank you. So they are on a mission to eliminate single-use plastics. The idea is simple. You grab a beautiful forever bottle, fill it with warm water, drop in a tablet, and you get cleaning. So they have tons of different products. They have cleaning sprays, hand soap, toilet cleaners, laundry tablets. They have glass cleaner. All the Blue Land products are made with ingredients that you can feel good about. And basically you have these bottles. I have them in my apartment. I think they're gorgeous. I have like blue and pink. I love the pink ones. And I have the containers as well. And you just get refills. The refills start at $2. You don't have to buy new plastic bottles every time you run out of a cleaning product and feel like you're wasting everything. And you can set up a subscription so you never run out of the products you use the most, and even save more when you buy in bulk. You can try their Clean Essentials Kit, which has everything you need to get started. That's what Ashley and I got. I love it. I use it almost every single day in my apartment. It makes cleaning so fun. I love the toilet tablets. They're so great. The Blue Land products come in refreshing signature scents like iris agave, fresh lemon, and eucalyptus mint. The smell is great, and of course they work.
I mean, don't get me started. The dish products, best I've ever used. The powder, you guys, you just dump this powder in your dishes and it foams up. It's insane. It's incredible. I like doing it. It's like I can't imagine my life without it.
I get really sensitive to smells from dishwasher cleaner. It's weird. I can't explain it, but this is the only one I found that doesn't bother me and just makes my home smell great. So right now you can get 15% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/GGE. That's 15% off your first order of any Blueland products at blueland.com/GGE.
Okay, so bachelorettes, plural.
So you and I watched, we don't ever hang out, but we watched the last.
We don't ever hang out.
Don't hang out. We watched the second to last Bachelor episode and the beginning of the Bachelor season finale together. Right. And last night is the first time we didn't watch one together in 3 weeks.
Oh, because we watched. Oh, we've been watching.
We've been together.
We haven't. Yeah. So we didn't watch the finale, part 2 of the finale, which was insanity.
I was screaming at my television. I like the people in the hallway heard me.
Yeah, so we don't need to like recap what happened. You either watch it or you don't. You care about the Bachelorette or you don't. But it was really crazy. It was like crazy with this thing with Tino. He took a shirt. His shirt was all the way unbuttoned. He was making a phone call. It was just insane. And then they bring Avon back, and of course they did. But I mean, all of it was wild. And then the text messages with Erich, we call him Erich. They showed them. It was an insane finale.
It was honestly, if you haven't watched 1 minute of The Bachelor, the entire season, it's some of the best 30 minutes of television I've ever witnessed in my entire life. You don't have to know anything about these people. Just know that this guy Tino proposed to Rachel, and then he cheated on her by kissing some girl, and it went crazy. He brought his journal over to her house, which is a fake house, and he looks disheveled and he's reading from the journal. It was hysterical.
I saw this tweet that was like Tino coming over to Rachel's house to talk about this, and it was a picture of the burn book from Mean Girls. Like, and he's got these like receipts in this journal, and she's like, "Oh, with no context." Like, it was really good TV. I don't know what's going on with her and Avon. We're recording this like the day after it happened.
I loved it, and I loved watching all former bachelorettes like facial expressions as they're watching this all unfold. I mean, it was incredible television. So I can't wait to see what happens with Rachel and Avon.
And then they announced Zach as the Bachelor.
So fuck is the Bachelor.
Fuck, hey, it's fuck. So it's just funny if you listen to the show, you know that we met Zach in Cancun, and he DM'd me, and it's this whole funny thing, and we think we should be on the show.
We would love to be a part of the dates on the show. I tagged him in something. I was just checking my Instagram to see if he responded.
We should host a group date.
Yeah.
I have an idea for it. I'm not going to pitch it out here, but I'm manifesting it. So no, we're not going to go on the show. I'm not going to go on the show. If they cast me, they would cast me as the oldest woman, to ever be on the show. I guess with the exception of Claire.
But they probably like hammered home like on the set. Like no one this old's even been there.
Stop it. It's like one producer.
Well, we were talking about this, how like even when there's a contestant that's like
33,
they like can't stop talking about how old she is.
Her title just says cougar.
Geriatric.
Like, geriatric. That happened before. I don't know if it was Michelle Money or it was somebody else, that it was like all the girls just couldn't stop talking about how old this 32-year-old was. Like, it's just like, I would never recover, and I would never go on the show. I wouldn't go on the show at any age. I've been approached when I was a lot younger. It's not for me. And no shade at all. Like, people, they find love and they get careers out of this. So I get it. But yeah, now we want to go on. We want to we want to do a group date. So we're manifesting it with you guys. You can manifest it with us, and we have some connects, and let's try to make it happen.
And we're working on it.
And then Love is Blind, After the Altar. We told you guys to watch that as well. This was 3 episodes of just the group post show, and now they're all broken up. So
yeah, it's 3 episodes. I've never stayed up that late before. I realized at like midnight it was 3 episodes, and I was up until 2 a.m.
That's so funny, Rayna, because you're saying that like it was live. You had to watch it and stay up. Like I've never stayed up so late to watch the Super Bowl. Yeah.
I started and I was so enthralled. I love the friendship between all these women. I think it's this like incredibly diverse group of women that all met through the show and clearly like love and respect each other. And I really enjoy watching their friendship, and all these people are friends. And I just wanted to see the love stories play out. Also, I was dying to know what happened with Deep D and Kyle. And so I had to stay up. I had to know.
So as it stands now, they are broken up. I am heartbroken. I have never felt so deeply that I wanted a couple to really work out, you know, and I hope that they ended amicably. We don't know all the details, but I felt so much that they had this great friendship and they didn't want to ruin it. And then Rayna, she had such a good point. She was like, you're going to ruin him no matter what. If someone starts dating someone else, that's going to ruin it. So you may as well just try it.
Well, she was like, if he dates someone else, I'll kill him. And I was
Right.
like, the friendship is over.
Yeah, the friendship's been over.
Yeah,
No, it's
you're
good.
not friends anymore.
But anyway, we'll let her speak on it next week.
Yes, we are so. Why am I yelling? I'm so sorry for yelling, guys. I just watched like the sound wave go so high. We will have her next week. She will be able to talk about what happened. I'm so moved by her story. I cried myself to sleep that night. She said this thing, and it really like hit me in the heart. She was talking about her relationship with Kyle and the friendship, and she said we're in this like gray area, and like, what is the point of this? Like, I can't just keep living in this space. And it hit me in my heart, my chest, in terms of my dating life, and just like not being in situations like that anymore, where you're just like, is this going anywhere? What is the point of this? You know?
Like, I can be in control of this. I should be in control of my own life. I should ask for what I want.
Yes. And so she really inspired me, and I think she'll inspire you guys. So we'll see her next week.
She inspired me and all of us at the finale at the altar with Shake when she was like, fuck this, I choose myself, you know? So we just love her, and we are so excited to have her on the show literally next week. But yeah, I mean, check it out, you guys. I feel like Love is Blind is so popular, so many of you guys have probably already seen it or watched that, but it was nice. I'm trying to think of anything else really of note. My main takeaways were Deepti and Kyle, and then I just really love Ayanna so much, and like I'm sad about her and Jarrett. Like, it's very clear that like he needs to grow up, and I think there's a lot of love there, and it's like a bummer that he couldn't, well, I guess I'm assuming, grow up enough to be with her because they broke up.
I loved these couples. I loved Danielle and her husband too. I like was rooting for both these couples.
I did like them more on this after the altar, actually.
She seemed a lot more like settled. She felt like she was secure in the relationship. I enjoyed watching them together. So both these couples, I was really sad to watch them split up. I want to know about these text messages. So I'm trying to get Deepti to tell us. I want to know what happened with Shayna and Shane. I'm dying to know.
I know.
So hopefully we'll get the tea. But if you guys haven't watched that, if you didn't follow the assignment last week, your assignment again this week is to watch Love is Blind too, and After the Altar.
If you haven't even started it, have fun. It's such good TV.
Have fun. There's a new Chef's Table on Netflix, which I'm excited about. It's all about pizza. So 5 or 6 episodes, all about pizza. I've been really enjoying it.
I have got to do Tell Me Lies on Hulu. I just have not had the time because I know this is going to suck me in, and we are committed to watching this. I don't think it's that many episodes. I think I can blow through it. I'm like, when am I going to do this?
Like I'm going to do it the holiday show.
What?
I think I'm going to do it the holiday show. You said I can blow through it. God damn it. It's like, that was the best callback of all time. God damn it.
I'm sorry. I forgot. That was hours ago. I'm kidding. I forgot about your blowjob contest.
I forgot about your little blowjob.
You guys forgot about your little blowjob contest. You guys email blowjobs at girlsgottaeatpodcast.com.
You've never sounded more like your mom than when you said that. Blowjob contest.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Okay. One more break, and then we are going to get into it with our guest today. We didn't mention it before, but is Guy Winch back again. So excited about this episode. But before that, I'm just telling you guys about Helix. I didn't even tell you. Nikki Glazer posted that she was looking for a mattress, and I got into her DMs. She did a question slide. I was like, I'm going around this. So I like got into her DMs, and I just wrote, like, I could have texted her too. I just wrote I went overboard. She probably was like, actually, I'm good. Because I was like, you have to get a Helix, and like, let me know if you want me to reach out for you. And I have the Moonlight Luxe, but I think you say you like firm, so I think that you're gonna want the Midnight Luxe. Like, I'm so passionate. And these are the mattresses I have here in my apartment in New York City, and then again, one of my parents' house. You guys know this, you've heard it. It's part of my personality at this point. But you can just go to helixsleep.com/GGE, take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. I was like, Nikki, you can take this quiz. You can see what mattress you like. I was literally, I know. So we love them so much. They have everything for every type of sleeper: soft, medium, firm mattresses. Mattresses great for cooling you down if you sleep hot. And there is Helix Plus mattress for plus size folks. So I have the Moonlight Luxe. I love it. I like a soft mattress. I sleep on my back, sometimes on my side, but however you sleep, they're going to match you to the best fit for you. It comes right to your door. So you don't need to go to a mattress store and lay in a bunch of mattresses other people have laid on. 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. And they will even pick it up for you if you don't love it. But we and know that you will. So again, the sleep quiz is going to make sure that you find the exact thing that you want. And you can also take it with your partner, and Helix will match you to a mattress that works for both of you. So no more fighting over your bedding situation. So Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/GGE. That's helixsleep.com/GGE for up to $200 off your mattress and 2 free pillows. I have to speak on the pillows. I slept in these pillows at the hotel we were at. I sunk right into them. I may as well have been laying flat on the mattress.
There's a denseness to them that I love.
Yes, like they are that softness that you want. They're not going to get lumpy because of the filling, but they don't crush down. Like I literally, the hotel we just stayed in, I had to do like 3 pillows to feel like I had like 1 pillow for support. Like whatever they have going on, they're perfect. And again, you're going to get these 2 free pillows. So anyway, just had to go off about the pillows again. Like I realized it just again when I was in this hotel, just how elite they are.
Well, you're so right, because I've had to sleep on my back for the last few weeks, and I hate sleeping on my back, and the pillows are the thing that has made it like bearable.
Yes, yes.
All right, and then another longtime partner that we love, Nutrafol. 30 million women are impacted by weakened or thinning hair. If you are among them, like myself, you are not alone, and there's a solution you can trust to deliver results. It is clinically shown to improve hair growth and thickness with less shedding through all stages of life. Nutrafol supports healthy hair growth from within. It targets 5 root causes of thinning. So if you suffer from stress, hormones, environment, nutrition, metabolism, it'll help target all those things. And you may also notice improvements in your overall well-being, including restful sleep, less stress, better skin, nails, and libido. So I'll be loading up on it before the holiday show. Healthier.
Rayna's just snorting Nutrafol. You're opening up the capsules. If you pee on this couch
on stage with us,
yeah, exactly. Like a bowl of M&Ms. It's just Nutrafol.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a little more about Nutrafol. Healthier hair growth takes time. So you will experience thicker, stronger, faster growing hair in 3 to 6 months. And in a clinical study, 86% of women reported improved hair growth after 6 months. You guys can go to Nutrafol.com, take the hair wellness quiz. You'll get a personalized product recommendation for yourself. And then when you subscribe, you'll receive automatic monthly deliveries. So you never miss a dose. That's so, so great. It drives me crazy to have to reorder stuff on my own, and I'll never remember. So they just take care of it for you. You can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com/GGE to save $15 off your first month subscription. This is the best offer anywhere, and it is only available to U.S. customers for a limited time, plus free shipping on every order. Get $15 off at Nutrafol.com/GGE, spelled Nutrafol.com/GGE.
Okay, one last thing.
What?
I meant to say this. I've been wanting to share this story with the audience. So as you guys know, we were traveling. We were in LA, and we were staying in this hotel. We were on the same hall, different rooms, obviously we would never. And so I like we're in the same hall though. Like it's easy because you're like, can you pick me up on the way down?
Nice. Just knock.
Yeah, I was in 307,
out.
you were in 301. 307 is the time I was born, so it was easy for me to remember my room. And I had to tell you something. I was on the way out to go do a show, and I was like, "Are you home?" And I knocked on your door. You're like, "Yeah, I'm just in a towel," but I just had to tell you something. I had an idea for something.
Okay.
So I knock on your door, and I like survey the room. I'm just nosy. I got to see what you're doing. And I see like propped up on your bed, your laptop. You were watching something on your laptop, and all I see on the laptop screen is like 6 boxes collage of security cam footage. Like 6 different camera angles, and I literally started to feel sick in my stomach. Like, what is she doing? Like, she has a secret life. She's got cameras in the hotel. She's like weirdly spying on people. Like, I'm not kidding, Rayna. And I go, what is on your computer? What are you doing, Rayna? And she said,
tell me right now.
Tell me right now. What are you doing? What is on your laptop?
This is how you found out that this is like my secret life.
And she just said, I'm watching Below Deck. And I like lost it.
It is black and white security footage.
And that was where it paused. Rayna, I'm not kidding you that I felt in the pit of my stomach, like, it's happening. I don't know her at all. Like, it's this like deep, dark secret.
What a crazy way for the podcast to end. In a hotel in LA, and you find out that I'm surveilling people. I have hacked the hotel surveillance system. It's happening. What if Below Deck is just a cover up? Like, what if I just made that up?
I like see my room. It says like 307. I'm like, oh my God, she's such a freak. That's how it ends. I'm like, I don't care if you surveil people, but you can't surveil me. Okay.
That is so fun. I'm glad you told that story because I was worried we would never tell the story on the podcast. It was so funny.
It just came to me. Memory unlocked. Okay. So excited for our guest today.
Yes, we are so excited to welcome back a guest to the show. He is a clinical psychologist. He is the author of multiple best-selling books, which have been translated into 28 different languages, including Emotional First Aid and How to Fix a Broken Heart. Collectively, his TED Talks have garnered 30 million views, including his first one, Why We All Need to Practice Emotional First Aid, which is rated as one of the most inspiring TED Talks of all time. I watched it. I can co-sign. He co-hosts his own podcast, Dear Therapist, with last week's phenomenal guest, Lori Gottlieb. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Guy Winch.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us in person. What a treat.
I know, it is a treat, especially after these past 2.5 years. It feels really special.
Yes, exactly. Well, welcome back. Everyone loved your previous episode. I think it really helped a lot of people. And we're excited to talk about complaining today.
Who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
You were on the show exactly 2 years ago in September via
Rayna
Zoom.
loves to do this.
I have to know.
We were joking about the stuff you say a lot. Her thing is telling people exactly a year and 7 months ago, we did this episode. She loves a milestone.
Gotta know. So yeah, you are back exactly 2 years later to talk about complaining, and you wrote this book, which I read last night, The Squeaky Wheel. And so we're going to talk about how to complain more effectively to your partner, your friends, your family, and what if people are complaining to you all the time, which is what I want to talk about.
It's a very important topic. I mean, it's a funny one, it's a light one, but it's actually has a lot of ramifications, which we'll get into, I'm sure.
So I know this book was a while back, but I'm just curious about the inspiration. I mean, people come to a therapist because they need to talk things out, complain. Maybe they've complained to their friends too much and their friends were like, go talk to a professional. So can you just tell us a little bit about the inspiration for the book and why you felt like this needed to be a book?
Yeah, there were quite a few of them, but mostly it happened like most things for me, in the therapy office with patients. Mm-hmm. Just too often. I think there was a run of 3 of them that week.
Okay.
Where somebody sat there in an individual session and said to me, and I'm just so angry at my wife. And I said, and did you say something to her? And he looked at me literally like I was crazy and say, why would I say something to her? Like, complain to her? Are you out of your mind? And just another person said to me that, no, I just told all my buddies about it, but it's not. And another person had a customer service complaint, and she said, I was so angry with the company. I said, and so did you return the product? No, I don't want to start sitting on hold and listening to bad music. And it just occurred to me like, wow, people have all these complaints and they have no idea what to do with them or how to handle them.
Yeah, so I read the book last night, and I think in the intro there's a quote that I wrote down, and you wrote, when we were upset with a friend, family member, or colleague, that person is often the last person to hear about our dissatisfaction.
I can't relate.
Ashley, I read that, and it hit me so hard immediately. I was like, Ashley cannot relate to this at all. That person is immediately the first person, which is, I mean, that is something I value about my relationship with her, and we've said this on the podcast. She'll just tell you right away. She'll call the front desk. She'll tell you. She'll do whatever. But it hit me because I was like, that is true. I will spin my wheels talking about something to a friend that I'm mad at another friend about, and it's like, why didn't I just tell that person and just nip it in the bud? I'll spend years talking shit about something, and it's not a great way to be.
It actually comes with quite a price, right? Because when we voice complaints, and by the way, people don't understand that we probably voice dozens of them a day. And most of them are mild and they don't really matter, and they're in the form of venting, which is fine. But when something really nags at us or bothers us and we don't actually get it resolved, we just tell a lot of people about it, even sometimes, as you say, for years on end, there's something quite disempowering about that. That's something that leaves us feeling quite helpless and weak and frustrated and resentful. And it does have quite an impact on us psychologically that we don't realize.
So I think there's different layers and ways to structure the conversation, because there's this not complaining enough or not voicing how you feel. Then there's over complaining, which I think a lot of people can relate to as well. And their partner or their friend or their parent or whoever is getting the brunt of the excessive complaining can relate. So should we start with the people that don't complain enough? Or how do you complain effectively? I mean, you just take it away, Doc.
Okay, well, first of all, let me just say one thing. One of the reasons people don't complain to the people they should be complaining to is because it doesn't go well. And the reason it doesn't go well is because they suck at it. And in general, we're terrible at it. We just don't put any thought into it. So we voice it spontaneously or once we've accumulated and we want to explode. And of course, it doesn't go well. And like, I knew I shouldn't say anything. And then we clam up again. But that's because we're not effective. And yet we could be if we knew how.
So one of the things that stuck out to me is like Ashley and I get these great emails all the time from people saying, I want to talk about my relationship. I have this thing that's going on. It's beautifully well written. It's smart. It's insightful. And I always think if you just sent this to your partner, this is the perfect thing. But they didn't. They sent it to us. And like you said, it's a fear of it not like going well or hurting somebody. So of course I understand why people don't do it.
One of the things I was struck by, and this is actually in the customer service domain, but it was a really interesting stat, and it was that on average, people, when they have a real complaint about a product or a service, only 5% of people will actually complain to a company. And the reason that 95% of people don't is they think it will take too much time and create too much aggravation and be too effortful. But they spend way more time voicing that complaint to everyone who can't do something about it, like all their friends. Mm-hmm. And the thing is this, when we voice a complaint, we get aggravated anew each time we voice it. Mm. Every time we go around regaling people with a tale of like, whatever it is, we get upset, we get aggravated. Yes, we get the venting and we get the validation from them afterwards, but we're literally upsetting ourselves over and over and over again. It's not, the ROI on it is really, really poor.
Is that translatable to relationships as well, just in general?
It's worse in relationships, because then when we start to fight and we get shut down very quickly because we voiced it really, really poorly, or we didn't think through at all what we're trying to do or what we're trying to achieve, then it really shuts us up for sometimes somebody will try that once and literally not try it again for years. And they're walking around with all these aggravations and dissatisfactions. It's hurting them, it's hurting the relationship. And if you do know how to do it, it's truly magical.
So how can we start being better?
So I want to start with something really basic.
Okay.
And it's stupid basic. But it's true.
That's great.
The first thing you have to do when you have a complaint is figure out what you want to achieve by complaining. If you're upset with your partner or with a friend or with a family member and you want to tell them about it, to what end? You need to know what you're after. You're after an apology, an acknowledgement, a makeup, a what, that they just don't do it again in the future. Unless you know what you're trying to achieve, you're going to go about it the wrong way. So you literally start from that end and you work backwards. Here's the outcome I would like. How do I get there?
Okay. So for the person, like Ashley said, that like doesn't complain ever, this is not like their bread and butter, they're not great at this, like then what?
So, okay, but first, so that was the first thing you have to do. But even before that, it's not about going about now and being complaining machines. It's not about, okay, now I know how to complain, so I'm going to go about like machine gun style and let everyone know. That's not useful either, because when we express a lot of negativity, it colors our perception of the world. And we don't want to color the world as negative and dour and against us, and because that has an impact on us too. That's the problem with complaining too much. You literally are painting the world as a crappy place to be. So you want to choose, and you want to choose the ones that are really meaningful, the ones that really nag at you, the ones that really make a difference in the relationship, and those are the ones you want to voice. And there shouldn't be that many of those, hopefully.
I feel like the word complain can conjure up images of just whining, and some of this sounds more just like an issue you could be having in the relationship. But
actually, you can redirect someone, you can make a request, you can voice a dissatisfaction in all kinds of ways that are not fully a complaint. A complaint is, this is something that bothered me, upset me, I'm not pleased with. And so it's a fuller meal than just, saying, hey, I didn't like when you said that. Or hey, don't talk to me in that tone, or something like that. It's a quick redirect. It's not really fully a complaint. And whining is about tone. Whining is about the manner in which you do it, and it also smacks of victimhood. So it's, I really know, that kind of thing. And people associate that with complaining. I associate complaining with an assertive act. I associate complaining with an effort to actually get a result, do it assertively, and do it for the better of the relationship, whether that relationship is with a person, with a business, with a family member, whatever it is.
Okay.
I feel like when I think about some things that I've complained long-term about, the second that I address it, I'm like released from this feeling, like the negative. It feels so good to me. Like I will let things fester for a long period of time. But the minute I say something, I like feel better and I'm released from this like prison of thinking about it constantly. But it is really scary to do that. And I think that like there's two types of complaining to me. One is like you don't do the dishes, you know, like like it's not so deep. It's not a character assassination. I think that the stuff that's harder for me to address and probably other people and that we get emails about is more of like a character assassination almost of like who you are as a person. I don't have an issue saying to somebody like, I wish you'd clean up a little more around here or like buy toilet paper for the house. I think it's a little scary to be like, I don't like who you are as a person.
Yeah. But I mean, do you see a lot with clients that it's all those little things that have built up to be so much bigger and then they don't know even where to start in terms of like, I wish you would help around the house. I wish you would do all these things.
So look, let's distinguish between criticism, which is the character assassination. A criticism is like who you are. Like, it's not like, please clean up around here more. It's, you're so lazy.
Sure.
Please clean up around here more. That's a criticism. That's going to character. And by the way, that's one that's not going to work well because people are going to have a much bigger response defensively to you're so lazy. I'm lazy, you know, and they're going to miss the point. And that's what happens when we complain poorly, which again we do all the time, is we actually misdirect the person away from the result we're trying to achieve into something sideways that they can then take and run with or they can counterattack with, and suddenly we're in a big scuffle when it was like, oh, I just, you said you left your underpants on the floor. I didn't mean to start World War III.
Right.
But if you don't know what you're doing, you will start World War III.
So what do you say to the person? Because I think this happens a lot when you say to somebody like, I don't like that you leave your underpants on the floor. But what they like, I think I've experienced this in relationships where you say this one thing, but what they hear is you're a lazy piece of shit. Like that, like, what do you do when somebody's like, well,
so that's a misdirect. You can simply say, please don't leave your underwear on the floor. And you say that once, and then the next day when they leave it, you just point and go underwear. And that's not a complaint. No,
I think
that's enough.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
enough.
you could be a little like, hey, babe, it's just, you know, I just would love if you picked your underwear up. I mean, that's fine, right?
Yeah, I don't show the underwear wants a sit-down talk of, listen, we have to talk. Your underwear is on the floor. Or that's too much for that. And that's what I'm saying. You can go with simple requests and redirects, and that's fine. The complaint is when really something more meaningful is bothering you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they insulted you in front of someone and you really didn't like it, or you really don't get along with their parents and it's causing a real problem for you. Like when there's something more meaningful that's a real obstacle in the relationship or festering in some kind of way, that's when you have to address it, and that's when it's more serious, and that's when it does require hey, I want to talk to you about something.
So are we ready for the complaint sandwich yet? I don't want to jump ahead.
Let's do that.
Are you guys hungry?
I heard sandwich. I got excited.
Yeah.
So look, the idea of the complaint sandwich is that even people who work in customer service feel attacked when people are complaining, even if they're not yelling at them and screaming at them and cursing at them and telling them to die, which, by the way, happens many times in
all day, every day.
It's horrific. But we naturally get defensive. So the idea is you want to start with a positive statement to kind of relax the defenses and ease you in. So if it's like in a relationship, you start with something like, hey, look, we've been dating for 3 months and I really like how it's going, you know, setting the tone for something, i.e., this is not going to be a relationship ending thing. Don't, you know, just bring it down a notch. And then the ending statement has to be something that gives motivation or that lets the person know that if they just resolve this in the way you requested, things will be great. And so that ending part is something like, so if you could just, whatever the thing is, I'd feel so much better about things, that would be really great. And the meat of the sandwich, which goes in the middle, has to be super lean. And the mistake people make is they get a running start. And they literally will say things like, you know, in 2012 was the first time that you did, like, and you're starting to, and by the way, they're tuning out by the time you got to 2016 and we're not at the present.
Right.
So, and you don't need that, because even if they've done it 1,000 times, your point is you don't like it. And that point is made with one time, which is the most recent time. And so you have to keep it lean because, again, just to totally belabor the metaphor, you want the sandwich to be easy to swallow. So that's why the meat has to be lean and not overpowering. And so then you say as simply as possible, this I didn't like, or this really bothers me, or when you said this, I felt that, you know, and you keep it simple. And then you let them respond.
Okay. So can we give you an example and you walk us through it?
Yeah.
The exact verbiage. So I like your example of you cut me down sometimes in public. Let's say where it's like a woman and she has a male partner and he just makes snide comments every once in a while, maybe belittles her a little bit, not all the time. I feel like that can turn into an abusive relationship, but you know, whatever it is. And this happened recently on a night out and she felt belittled and embarrassed?
Right. So I would start with, look, I really like when we go out with friends. You know, it's one of my favorite things to do, and you're really fun to go out with, and you're really great most of the time. There's one thing you do that really bothers me. You can sometimes, maybe you don't notice, be a little critical or make a joke at my expense, which is actually a little uncomfortable for me. And I really would like you to be aware of that and to not do that. Do the opposite if you can. I'd like you to build me up. I'd like us both to feel that we build each other up in front of other people. So if that's something you can really pay attention to, it would mean a lot to me because it's something that bothers me.
Perfect.
I feel like that's so rational, and like it's when you said like keep it lean, I feel like so many people, including myself, it's so easy to fall into the trap of like, but you did do this 4 separate times, and here's every time you've done this, and I think I would struggle in that moment because I want to give examples and I want to be like, you did this thing and this thing and this thing, and it's not that I know if you did it once or twice I probably wouldn't care, but you've done it 4 times, and now let's talk about all the like it's hard for me to reel it in.
Well, and then also sometimes you are with your partner or your friend or whoever it is, and they do something once, and you just hope that's like a one-off. It's not that you're scared to speak up, but you're like, whatever, maybe they were like drunk, and then it like happens again, and then you notice the pattern, and then you're like, now I have to say this, and then all the other 4 times are on your mind. It's great advice to kind of cut back on that running start.
Except that, look, let's be honest about one thing. It is way more satisfying to blast the person and completely unload on them and tell them they're a real asshole and let you know that, you know, how upset you were. That's much more satisfying. It's going to be much less effective because the version I gave, while much less satisfying, is going to be much more effective. They're going to be able to respond to that version much more. Now, by the way, you have that talk, and the next time you go out, it happens again. Then you got to address it perhaps a little bit differently. I would still use, you know, that complaint sandwich, but I would say, like, I just want to understand if that's something that you were aware that you were doing. I would drill a little bit more down to find out, what is that about? Why does that then keep happening?
Yeah.
But once you voice a complaint like that, then there's limit setting involved. You don't let it slide the next time it happens. Because if you did, then the message is, but I'll tolerate it. And that's not your message. So then you really have to be on it.
Okay. It's different, obviously, your relationship and your customer service complaint, but it's still human behavior. And it's when you're so over the top nice, like the outcome that you get is sometimes even more than you would have expected. Like, because a lot of those people have been screamed at all day. So when you are so kind and nice and rational and not heated, it's just like the problem almost always is resolved. And not that this is a hot take, but it's just anytime I approach any situation that is in a customer service, I have to like tell myself, like, don't take it out on this person who had nothing to do with this. Also,
that is so important to remind yourself in those moments that this person is a low salaried employee who's getting yelled at all day. They didn't cause the problem, and they might not be authorized to fix it either. So one of the questions I always ask if I'm calling is like, are you authorized to do blank? Because if I want a refund and it's $50, maybe they're authorized up to $25. And so I will actually even ask them just so I know. But yeah, I remember that it's not their fault, and I'm asking them to help me. And usually when we're asking somebody to help us, we're much nicer about it than to go at them and curse at them and yell at them and threaten them and then say, now help me.
Mm-hmm. That's a great way to think of it too. Just like, I'm asking this person for help. Why would I call and start yelling?
I'm wondering what you mentioned a client of yours, a patient of yours that said like that was complaining constantly about his wife, and you were like, well, why don't you tell her? And he was like, well, I would never do that. That's crazy.
What are you, crazy?
That's insane. So like, what do you say to somebody that's just like that's been complaining about something for like a year and has never addressed it? Because we're way past the like sometimes when you're in public, you cut me down. Like we're like this is what I've thought of you for a year. And I've complained to everybody else about it clearly, and I've thought about it. Like, how do they start addressing it?
So first of all, it's clear to me that if that's the case, they just don't know how. Mm-hmm. They're really worried they're going to do it wrong, and they're very wise to be worried because they're likely to do it wrong. So I will literally help them with talking points. I'll literally give them the formula. I'll have them rehearse it. with me. I'll correct them. I'll sometimes one time I said to someone, okay, but you need to start with something positive. And this was in a couples therapy session. And so he turns to his wife and he goes, nice blouse. And I'm like, no, that's not.
Were you like, oh my God, we're so far gone. We just like, you're like, I'm going to have to fire you as a client.
This is divorce counseling now.
No, but it's the point of how some people really, they don't know what to say. And once they have good talking points, and here's a pad, write it down on your phone, whatever it is. And I say, and if you're worried about it, send an email. Send it to me first so I can vet it, because you're going to screw it up. So let me at least make sure that version works well.
Though. You're going to mess this up. Just let me look at it first.
Well, yeah.
No,
because,
I love that.
If it's really important, why not help them succeed? And so, and then once they do get the hang of it, they get better at it, but it's a skill set. We have to get better at it if we don't have it.
I love looking at stuff like that too. There's so many different things that we discuss that you're just not born with these skills. Some people are born with more than others, or they acquire them as they grow up. But I don't want someone to beat themselves up because they don't have these skills. Like you can learn them and you can practice them and you can get much better. With any communication skills.
And look, and that's really important to do. I think I was naturally better at it. I mean, the first story I have in the book was a true story of when it was many years ago when I was renting an apartment and they started building a building outside, not related to my apartment. And it made so much noise, I asked for a rent abatement because my quality of living had gone down. And so did everyone in the building. But everyone in the building just wrote these nasty letters to the management saying, like, there's incredible noise, it's not fair, give us a rent abatement. And I realized that has nothing to do with this building. It's New York, they'll build in front of you sometimes. So my whole letter was coming from that point of view of, I know this is not your fault, I know it's not your responsibility, I know you don't owe me anything here, but the reality is my quality of life has taken a deep dive. And then I just said, I would really appreciate it if you can adjust my rent even somewhat. It would make me feel better about the fact that I have to live with this now for 2 years. And they called me and they said, we got letters from everyone and you're the only one we're giving a rent abatement to, because that was a good letter. They literally said that.
Wow. I dealt with that, and I don't know if I discussed the noise when they were doing construction below my apartment, but I got a lot of money back. Because it really affected, it was unreal. They shouldn't have let me move in there, honestly. They should, and then it got worse, and then it was totally unlivable. I was lack of sleep. I think I cried about it on the podcast early on.
It was a lot to deal with.
Of course, terrible. It's not their fault. They're not doing it. It's the business below, and so it was a long road, but it finally it did result in a decent money off. So anyway, I can relate. I love that story because noise. It'll ruin my life. Construction noise.
It's a lot to deal with. I want to talk about, so you talked about people that don't complain very often. I want to talk about people who it is diarrhea of the mouth. And I want to focus on your own behavior, and then we can talk about people that complain to you constantly. But the feedback from the last 2 serious relationships I've been in is that let's say my mom, I bitch endlessly about it. I complain constantly. And that I am doing and have done what you have said, which is that I'll bitch to everybody about it instead of the person who it is. And so I have gotten that feedback in both my last serious relationships. So how can we be better at checking ourselves that we are constantly bringing something up and complaining?
So are you saying your partner, and you can take yourself out of it too? Are we talking about a person who is complaining to their partner about everything else in the world?
That your partner says to you, you bitch endlessly about
you
this.
just dump on them constantly, not you, but I'm saying.
That was not the feedback. The feedback was one specific thing for me, but yes, like Ashley said, to sort of zoom out, that the feedback from your partner is you bitch endlessly about this. And it's bad for me to be in this environment, which is not what somebody said to me, but I think that is really relatable. So what do you, if somebody says she just never stops.
So I want to distinguish between you bitch endlessly about a topic that's clearly bothering you very much and that clearly you need to address. Mm-hmm. I think that's different because that's just something that must be very much on your mind that you're exposed to a lot, and so it just constantly aggravates you. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. On that. I think that's different than somebody who I classify as a chronic complainer.
Yes, agree.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Well, because I feel like, Rayna, we know someone that is the chronic complainer. It's always a dark cloud. It's incessant. And then there's something you were pissed at me and you've been complaining about it for weeks,
Yeah. So thank you for drawing that, because that does feel really different. So let's talk about both of those things. Let's talk about you feel like your partner just will not let this one thing go. Maybe it's work, or maybe it's
yes. Work is a great example. I feel like Rayna and I both dated guys in the past that we felt were very similar, and they would like come home and just like complain. And we're like, I can't hear about this anymore.
Right.
Well, I mean, look, because if it's about that one thing, then the bottom line is, so why don't you find another job? Or why don't you ask for a transfer to a different department? Or if this is truly making you this unhappy, maybe you should do something about it. In other words, you can set limits with someone and say, look, when you come home at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to a nice evening, and you bring home this cloud of work that puts us both in a shit mood. And it's like, I'd like to use the end of the day to kind of recharge a bit and to restore and to be able to be lighter. So if this is really bothering you that much, how about we set some limits about it? I'll give you 15 minutes every day. You need to compress it all into the 15, but after that, we're moving on.
Okay.
Right? Sometimes if we do that in sessions with someone, I tell them that they have to stand up, and the rule is that every time they complain about something, they have to wag their finger. And it makes them feel stupid. They stop doing it at some point.
So make them feel stupid. Yeah, I mean, and that's just like one example. I mean, jobs come and go. It could be like a family member that they're dealing with, and that's a little trickier because, you know, you potentially are tied to this family member forever. And I can see a world in which someone's like, all he does is like complain about his mom, or all she does is complain about her dad or in-laws or whatever it is. Did we approach that in the same way? Because it might be a little tougher.
Right. I think that not that it's easy, but you, of course, can change jobs. You cannot change your mother.
No, but you can set limits with your mother. If you set limits with your mother, you'll have less to complain about to your partner about your mom. In other words, you have to look at the source of what's going on. And if your mother is aggravating you that much, that's not good for you either. Then you need to find a way to set limits with that or to limit that. You know, I once said to my mother, and she's no longer alive, but I once said to her, look, you don't get to call and just complain. And she would sometimes do that, just like everything that's wrong. I'm like, it's not okay for me. So I'm going to give you 50-50. For everything you say that's wrong, I want to hear something that's great in your life. And then I shifted it to, you got to start with the one thing great, and then you earn the wrong. So she had to earn the right to complain by telling me things that were going well. Now she would get really, really good. And then she was like, I'm reading a good book. Now, you should hear what's okay. I'm like,
game the system.
Yeah.
I feel like it would drive me insane, but it would drive, like if somebody was like, tell me 50% good stuff, I'd be like, I literally hate you. But it would also maybe force me to fix the problem.
Yeah. I mean, it is like, it is tricky. I mean, I have had times in my past where perhaps I wasn't the most compassionate partner, and I'm more easily annoyed in life than the average person. I always say my like inner monologue is Larry David. Like I know I'm easily annoyed. So, you know, I think that maybe sometimes in past relationships, they could have complained a little bit more till it got to a point where I should have been annoyed or should have been over it. So I think that's also like a line too of like, what's just normal and okay in a relationship. You should be able to vent to your partner. I mean, Rayna and I, we're not romantic partners, but we will just nonstop. But usually it's an issue we're dealing with maybe together. So it's nice to have a sounding board. But
yeah,
there's probably a world too in which someone is being unrealistic about how relationships are, because you should be able to express things that bother you in your life to your partner.
Right. This is not about don't do that at all. This is about quantity.
Right.
This is about how much of the verbiage is negative, how much of the mood
without the
is
balance
negative.
of the positive.
Right, and there should be a balance. And if it's really pervasively negative, that's a problem. And then you should try and do something about it. And by the way, like, let's look at an example of a new mother who's, you know, stuck with, you know, the baby all day and is really miserable and needs to vent about that, because there's nothing she can change. There's nothing she can do about it. There's no action to be taken there. And then it's really important to allow her to vent and to be supportive and all those things, because she's stuck. You know, or you're taking care of an elderly parent or somebody with an illness, and you need to be able to vent about it. Super important. So there's situations in life in which, you need to be able to contain that from the other person and validate from the other person, because it's truly nothing they can do. But if you think there are things that they can do, and there obviously are, then really it's about, okay, I'll validate, I'll be patient, I'll complain, I'll be compassionate. But you need to move out of the stuck place at some point.
So I want to, just before we move on, I want to go back to what Ashley said about like the dark cloud chronic complainer, where you just feel like every day it's something. It's not just like this work thing you need to focus on or your parent. It's like every day I walk into a dark cloud and like, I can't live like this. So how do you talk to somebody about that? Because that does feel more of a character assassination to me. Like it was like, it like shot me in the heart when my partner said to me, you complain about your mom too much, but this is like your whole personality.
Right.
Right. Now, I wrote an article about it once, and the way I started it, I said, optimists see the glass half full, and pessimists see the glass half empty, and chronic complainers see the glass that's chipped, and the water's a little muddy, and now I really can't even drink of it. And why do these things always happen to me? Why can't I even get a glass of... It's that.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Nothing ever works out for me. My water's always murky.
Right. And the problem with a chronic complainer is every time you try and give them a suggestion or show them a bright side or help them in a way that will really resolve the issue, they're going to fight you on it. Because in fact, the chronic complainers don't want to resolve the complaints. They just want validation for the victimhood. They just want you to validate like, oh my goodness, oh, that's just terrible. That's just terrible. Because every time you see them, how are you? You know me, and you feel in your head, sadly I do. And, because it's now going to be this whole litany of everything that went wrong and all the victimization and poor them and life always sucks for them. And it's so negative. It's embedded into who they are and how they see themselves in the world. And that's why they fight it when you say like, no, but that sounds great. Oh, you would think it would be great, but you went on vacation, and don't even ask about the hotel. It's just, you can't get there. You cannot get to a ray of sunshine anywhere. And so when you read, and those are not a lot of people, but there are some people, and they are very distinct when you know them. And with them, you do not try and fight it. I mean, unless it's somebody you really are stuck in a relationship with, which is a different story, then you just go with a few minutes of like, that's a shame. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, well, look at the time, and then you kind of move on because they really they're not looking for comfort. They're looking for validation.
And you'll just sort of, you'll just spin your wheels. So like, say this is like a friend that says to you, I have this problem. And no matter what you say, even though they're asking for advice, they're just going to tell you why you're wrong. And they're going to tell you why they're going to do what they want to do anyways, kind of thing. And like, you get into this spiral of just complaining that like, you're like, wait, nothing's ever going to fix this. So you think with people like that, you just sort of say like, you just listen and hear them out and that's it?
Unless they're really close. I mean, if they're really close, then you can try and have some kind of intervention on it. But if they're not really close, that's not your job to kind of tell them, hey, there's something really wrong here. And then you just manage them in a way like, if they're acquaintances, if they're colleagues, whatever it is, you just try and manage. And once, I mean, again, these are not a lot of people, but it's distinct, and you know it and you know those people when you encounter them. If it's someone close, then I mean, when I've had people like that in my life, I've said something at some point, and I said, look, I just want to mention something to you. You are such a lovely person, and you are so kind, and you're so compassionate. And I'll go through, again, I'm complaint sandwiching for people who haven't picked it up. And I'll start with something like that. And then I'll say something like, but you seem to be really focused on everything that goes wrong in your life and not at all focused enough on what's going right. And I worry that that's really impacting your mood. And I worry that's really impacting your quality of life. And I care about you. Do you notice that?
I love that. And I also just want to say that I do think that people go through phases in their life where things just are darker or depression. I mean, I remember a point in my life, our lives, where we were just so busy and it just felt like we weren't having fun and we were really stressed. And I felt like I was walking away from situations and being like, I just like unloaded on a friend at the comedy club when they asked how things were going. And like, that's not me. And I realized that, but then I feel like I've had friends as well. I'm thinking of 2 friends that's not their natural state. But then it seems like that for weeks or months on end. And one of them, she made a big life change, but there was a point where I was like, I mean, it's tough to be around. And she used to be so fun and light. And now it's like this past 6 months, it's like constant complaining. Again, made a big life change. And I want to say that to validate that, like, we go through phases in our lives where things are just feeling more negative, and you can realize it on your own, or what you said is so compassionate and nice. And sometimes some people need to hear that. Like sometimes you can't see outside of yourself, and someone that you love and care about, it could be really helpful for them to say like, I'm noticing a little negativity and maybe,
Yeah, but you have to be very careful, right? Because there's some people, like, you're not going to say that to somebody who's a refugee. You're not going to say that to somebody who actually did go through a series of terrible events.
Right.
Or who's
Yes,
truly
yes.
having a very, very hard time. And then it's
course.
appropriate. But the other distinction you made, which I think is so important, is that if it's out of character.
Yes.
Because that means something's going on. That means the person's stressed or depressed or something. And then you can say, like, you seem depressed to me. You might have been for months now. Are you okay? I mean, that's a fair conversation to have as well. But that's not like, look, you're complaining endlessly. That's like, you seem depressed. You seem really down. Are you okay? And
Can
that's
I
a different
help?
kind of
Can I do it?
conversation.
Yeah.
To me, I think that's a good time to like bring it up, check in with somebody and draw the boundary because you're at least like bringing somebody's behavior to them. And I've had people do that with me because it's not my nature to complain at all. I'm a pretty easygoing person. And 2 summers ago, I had 2 friends back to back say to me, like, you're talking about your body a lot. You're like really talking about like your image and how you feel about yourself. And from the other side of the coin, it made me realize something about myself. It felt supportive. It felt loving. 2 people said it. So I got a workout bike and I started working out. And I was like, okay, let's address, not everybody could buy a workout bike, but it allowed me to look at my own self and what I was saying and how it was affecting my mood. And I was like, oh, I am constantly thinking about my body. And let me think about this a little bit more and why. So I think that's really, it can be really supportive. And it also helped me to draw a boundary and be like, all right, let me think about my behavior. And, maybe people don't want to hear this so much. And I had to do some self-evaluation.
That person, and again, I like what you said about some people have had a traumatic life and it's just it's going to be a little heavier and darker on them. But someone that's not their story, that's just that natural person that like complains constantly. I mean, everybody's got their own shit going on, but I guess there's nothing really that has really taken such a toll. Like, can those people change? I mean, we're talking someone that's 30 plus that it's like, is that just your personality? Like,
Right.
do you need to just find people that can deal with it? You know, like
people that just walk in, like you said, you can't even ask how their vacation was without them being like, oh, the weather was so hot in Miami. It's like, Miami's hot. Why is this a thing? Also, I complain a lot, but I make it funny.
Okay, and I want to make, you know what? That's a very, very important caveat.
Okay.
And look, I used to do stand-up too. If you're working out a bit, if you're figuring out material, if you're making it funny, or if you're really looking for the funny, sarcastic way to present it, it sounds very different than complaining.
Thank you, Guy.
Because you're doing it with a wink. You're finding, you're finding you're being sarcastic about it. You're finding the humor in it. You're making it sound, giving it a very different tone, and that doesn't sound complaining to people, because what stand-up is fundamentally is a series of litanies of complaints. Yeah. You're just telling them funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, when my ex was like, all you do is talk shit. I was like, that's my hobby.
That's my personality.
I love doing that. If you can't enjoy that, then you can't be here. I took a beat for a second. I was like, do I do that? Yeah, I do. And I love it. But I want to go back to, again, what Ashley said. Okay, so the person that's not, they're not a stand-up comedian. They're just like, everything sucks.
But they can still be funny. Yeah, okay, but right. Yeah.
Can they change? Or do you
Sometimes, look, you just gave an example. This is not the best example. When you said, when 2 people said something to you about, hey, you're talking about this a lot, pay attention, you're like, oh, I need to pay attention. And for some people, when you say, hey, you're sounding really negative, are you aware? I know you went through a life change. How are you with it? Because you don't seem to be as happy as you used to be. How is that going? For some people, it's like, oh, they didn't realize it. They're so in it that they didn't realize that maybe for months and maybe sometimes even for years, there's something that's coming out of them that's quite negative. So I think it can be useful for people. And yes, some people can certainly change. Again, it's related in some way to our identities. Some people, the way they define themselves is by, I'm the person that lives take a shit on. That's who I am. It always goes badly for me. And it's an unfortunate way to define yourself, because it'll become a self-fulfilling prophecy all the time.
I was going to ask if it was a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And you can point it out. But there are people, in therapy known as help-rejecting complainers. And they're the people who go from therapist to therapist to therapist, and no one can help them. And essentially, they're not open to help. And again, that's a minority. That's a sliver of people. There are truly not that many. But there are people like that. And there are people who can't change, who don't change, who don't really want to. But most people can. And sometimes saying something can be a loving act. And sometimes saying something can open someone's eyes and make them realize, oh, you're right. I haven't realized how I've slipped. And it happened gradually for me. But wow, it is all encompassing right now.
I like that you brought up your mom, because when I hear maybe this type of person, I definitely know people that they could be thinking that that's their parent, or their grandparent, or, and somebody that may be a little older, more stuck in their ways, that may not take the feedback as well. So when you were like, hey, you have to tell me something positive, do you feel like over time it made an impact?
At the time, it did. And at the time, she, it really changed something. It changed something in our dynamic, because our conversations changed, and then I brought more lightness to them, and it was really, really helpful. And so it can actually help with that.
I just wanted you to say that, because I think sometimes you have to put in the work too, and again, this is kind of the stuff we talked about last week with Lori, of sometimes if you're the child, you're frustrated, like, why do I have to put in the work? Why can't they just be different? But sometimes you might have to change the way you structure the conversation, like lead them to water. And maybe over time, it'll just naturally get better. So I like that, almost like forcing it on them. You tell me something positive right now. Do it right now.
Tell me now.
Tell me now.
Right now.
Yeah.
I think for friends, it can be tough, because you can fall into this dynamic where, like, that's just your relationship. You just complain about stuff all the time. And, I think people really want to come to Ashley and I for relationship advice. That is what all of our friends do. We're the first call for a breakup, for a tough situation with a friend. I mean, this is what we do for a living. We've had the honor of interviewing so many people like you. We have a lot of information. So I think that sometimes, you can have this dynamic with, we'll call it female friendship, where like all you do is complain, and it's hard to stop at some point. And I've felt frustrated where I feel like sometimes, like, my relationship with a certain person, it's like all they do is complain to me about like their love life and their dating life and their sex life. And I can't listen to this anymore. And I don't want this to be our relationship. And I'm fatigued from it. And I don't know how sometimes, but I mean, you sort of said, you just have to address it and draw the boundary.
Yeah. Now here's another thing that happens, which I want to address, because this happens quite commonly and it's very problematic, and we call it co-rumination. And what happens there is that one person, and often it happens with women, and often with younger women, teenage girls a lot of the time, is that one will start complaining to the other about something, and it'll feed into the other person to go, oh, I know, me too. And they can spend hours together ruminating about the things that are upsetting them. It's like one is feeding the other. Mm-hmm. And what we know from that research is that those girls, and again, sometimes women, sometimes men, but it is mostly women, can get much more depressed over time, because it's a best friend, and their friendship is often defined by, we get together and we talk about how miserable we are in the dating world, or we get together and we talk about how miserable we are at work. But what we do is we share misery all the time, and that can be really, really damaging. Again, we have to be aware that what we say not just reflects how we see the world, but colors how we see the world. And when what a lot of we're putting out there is so negative, and we feel so passive about it, because none of it is about solutions, none of it is about, oh, but let's get perspective, none of it is about, but let's try and see that in a different way. It's just about the misery of it. That will really foster a negative perception, that'll really foster a sense of depression, a sense of helplessness, even anxiety in that sense. And so that idea of, oh, I have this friend that we can get together and just share the misery for hours on end, is not a good thing. You actually have to be very careful.
Because you're like, you think that you're bonding and that you're venting, but you're not. You're just, it's like a cycle of negativity.
You are bonding.
Yeah. But what you were talking about with you and I do is like, we'll bitch about something, but I always feel at the end of the conversation, we've like addressed it and we have a solution. I don't feel like this is not like a misery loves company. I'm just here to do more misery.
Yeah. And I think two things. One, it's how you feel after. Do you feel sick? Like, do you feel like, why I'm so much worse off than I came into this conversation? Right. And I don't know. I think the funny thing that Rayna and I do is one person's always like a little more upset, and the other person picks up on it and has to be the optimist. It's very weird. Like when I'm like so low, where I'm like, I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel with whatever is going on. Like Rayna's the one that has to be like, okay, well, look at the bright side. And then when she's in that space, like all of a sudden I jump into action. I'm like, okay, well, this, and this. And then she's like, you're right. Thank you for reframing it. Like it comes naturally, but I'm glad that we do that somehow innately, as opposed to, yes, we sit around and we have cried together and complained together, but sometimes you have to take on the role of like, yeah, I'm annoyed about this too, but I need to offer a different perspective, so we're not just sitting here rolling around our own shit.
Yeah, I'm smiling because that is a very, very classical couple dynamic. No, but your work wives, it's okay.
Yeah,
like you are a couple in that way. And and it's true. When you have a couple and they have a problem, they can't both fall to pieces. They can't.
Right.
So one of them takes that role, the other one usually has to take the other position. And it's a very natural dynamic that happens. But again, it will happen between, colleagues who work together all the time. It's just a couple dynamic, and it's a very natural one.
You're right, though. It's like when I walk away from these situations, like we literally, this exact situation last week, she was upset about something. I was trying to see the bright side. Then I got upset about it. She was like, we're done being upset about this. We're done with it. And she was really nice. I had a good cry. And it was great. But
I said other things too of why we should be done with it. Yeah.
She wasn't just like, we're done with this. Stop crying. I do feel better when I walk away, but there's like, I know what you're saying, where these relationships where you walk away and you've used each other as sounding boards, you just walk away feeling worse. You're just like in the shit.
And it depends on what it is. Like, I want to be clear, someone's not like my parent died and you're like, look at the bright side. Like, I want to be clear. I'm talking about a different type of complaining, right. So we have a friend that's really dealing with something hard right now. And like, she's not complaining. She's telling us how she's feeling. And we're not at the point yet to really offer anything except for like, I love you. I'm here for you. I always support you. I understand. I as much as I can. And I'm listening and I'm here, as opposed to like, well, girl, just get back out there and think about it this way. Like I don't know. It's sometimes every situation is different, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what she needs. She needs right now, if it's very difficult, she needs the validation, she needs the compassion, she needs the sounding board, she needs the hugs. Mm-hmm. In 6 months' time, if she's still stuck in that place, maybe that's when it's like, come on, you might need to, you feel, you sound a little stuck, but not at the beginning. And depends on the magnitude of the thing. Of course, compassion should be the first response.
Yeah, I have a real problem with people in the beginning that say like, it'll be fine. Like, in 6 months, if it's become your whole personality, that's different.
Yeah. One thing, and you tell me if you agree, if someone is really stuck and it's been ongoing, and let's just take someone that's going through a breakup, for example, and it is like that Sex and the City scene where they are like, Carrie, we can't listen to this anymore. You need to go to a therapist. And she does. But I would say something like, I'm out of my league here. Like, I feel like I can't help you anymore. I've offered you all the knowledge and information I have, and I would love to see this get better for you. And again, not sitting down with a therapist, it's not for everyone, and not everyone can afford it. But we've seen people send podcast episodes of ours, or there's books, or there's different things. So I don't think that's ever gone so terribly wrong.
I think that's a lovely way to say it, the way you say it.
I'm really honored that Ashley and I are the people in our friends' lives that people come to. I feel so special that somebody would A, want to share something with me, and B, want my insight. But at some point, I am out of my league. I got to go to work. I can't do anything else for you,
I do want to say one thing, though, before, I don't know how much time we have, before we end. I do want to get back to the fact that I think complaining is a good thing, in essence, to me, or the way I think about it. And the last chapter in the Squeaky Wheel book is about complaining as activism, how very specific private people have had a complaint, but they started a campaign of effective complaining that went up against governments, went up against huge companies, and one person brought those companies or the governments to their knees just because they were good at galvanizing. And what I say to people, an example I often get is like people come and say, oh, my kid just came home from school and I don't like what the teacher said to them, and I want to complain about that teacher. And it doesn't really go well to complain about the teacher, because when you come in as a parent of a kid and say, I don't like how the teacher treats my kid, you're the complaining parent. There is a world of difference between two parents coming in. You gave that example. You said, 2 people said it to me, not one. And you emphasize, well, I heard it from 2 people, because one person, maybe she has an issue with me. 2 people, no, that's me.
Yeah.
And so it's a principle of complaining that if you can get one other person to do it with you, you're going to get much further than if it's just you.
All right. Well, let's talk about sexual complaints,
because those are tricky.
Those are the hardest for a lot of people to bring up, because people feel really uncomfortable about bringing up sexual complaints. One, they don't feel uncomfortable bringing up, and most people, often mostly men, but not necessarily, don't feel uncomfortable at bringing up, I want more of it. We're not having enough of it. But when you're getting into the specifics of, there's something that we're doing sexually that's not okay for me, or I really want sex to be better, or, like a lot of people feel really, really uncomfortable bringing that up. And to me, it is incredibly important in a relationship that you're able to do that, because to the extent, some people, sex is not that important for them, but for a lot of people it is. And that's something that can happen a lot. And the thing that happens a lot is that when one person says, hey, I want more of this, and especially when it's a woman who's saying, I want more of this from a man or from another woman, and they don't get it, they go to bed feeling rejected every night because they lie there, well, is it going to happen now? Are they going to hear me now? And then it ends up this accumulation of feeling really, really rejected, and that can be really, really damaging. So I think it's really important for a couple to develop, again, the skill set, this happens with practice, to put sex on the table as something we talk about. And the more you do that, the easier it is to do, and it truly becomes just one more thing to talk about. But it's the discomfort you have to break through. But the great thing about that is that, it's just about talking about it, and it becomes less uncomfortable, but only if you address it and you can talk about it.
So what if the complaint is that we just don't have sex?
Then the complaint is we don't have sex and I want to. And if I hear from people all the time, I haven't had sex with my partner in 5 years.
Okay.
And I'm like, and you're not talking about that at all? I say, no. And how do they feel about that? I don't know. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
goodness. I mean, it's not the judgment of the not having sex. It's the I can't imagine not speaking up, but it's tough. I know it's
common.
Tough for some people.
It's so common. It's much more common than you would imagine. And 5 years, 1 year, even it's been 6 months. It's quite common, and that people don't talk about it, and they don't know how the other person feels about it. And I'm like, what if they feel like you? And what if they're misreading you and thinking you're the hesitant one, and you think they're the hesitant one, and maybe he is, maybe you are, maybe you both are. How do you know unless you talk about it?
So can we just do an example language for we haven't had sex in a while? And if 5 years might sound extreme to somebody, but even let's say whatever feels long to you, whoever's listening, it's been a few, whatever feels abnormal in your relationship. How can we bring this up? Is it still this sandwich?
So actually that one is quite straightforward. It's like, hey, I'm going to talk about something. Yes. And you make sure you have their attention and you say, I want to talk about a sex life. If it's been 5 years, they know what the conversation's about.
Right.
Or, even if it's been 6 months, they know what the conversation's about. That's not a tricky one to get into at all. You just need to bring it up and say, can we talk about this? I don't know how you feel about this. Maybe this is okay for you. What people do need to do, though, because I hear this all the time as well, is you want to get an idea and do the research online about what's normative. Because, people will sometimes say to me in a couples therapy session, one person say, we don't have sex enough at all. And the other person says, I think we do. And then I always ask, well, how often do you have it? And sometimes they'll say to me 3 times a week, and we've been together for 30 years. And I'm like, all right then, what's your secret? In other words, that's a different, but one of them will feel really frustrated. And they don't understand that they are so far ahead of the curve, and so you do need to get a sense of what's normative there.
You said this thing that would immediately disarm me, which is that you start the conversation by saying, I want to talk about this and I want to see how you feel about this. Because I think that a lot of people, including myself, mostly open up a conversation and say, I want to talk about this and this is how I feel about it. And I like that language of I want to talk about this and I also want to see how you feel. Because to me, I feel immediately like my guard is dropped a little bit because I know that I'm going to be a part of this too.
Yeah. It probably gets a little more difficult with the nitty gritty. I wish you would go down on me. I mean, I can understand that it's might be a more challenging ask, but maybe that could be, I love being intimate with you. I like, can you maybe start with a compliment there, but I wish I could have some more of this, or I wish,
I don't know if you need to complain so much. I don't know if you have such a beautiful mouth. You're not using it correctly. I mean, I don't know if that's the recipe there. It can really be, but first of all, be aware that if you're making specific requests, be open to getting them, and that. But that's a much better discussion to have, right? I want to talk about our repertoire. We seem to be falling into quite a narrow way of doing things, and I want to talk about stuff we used to do that we don't do, or stuff we don't do that I would like to try. Can we have a conversation about expanding our repertoire or bringing more tricks and tools into the into the encounters.
Yeah, because I think when you say like, and I want to see how you feel about this, I think that like you've implied like, and I do want to get the feedback as well. Like I'm going to tell you, you need to like be down there more often, but like I'm open to you saying I also need to. You know, maybe we need 69 more. We'll both do it at the same time.
Yeah, that's how you start. I'll do it if you do it. That's what I did with my ex with therapy. I was like, I'll go if you go. I'll start.
Okay, good.
I mean, I just knew he needed to go to therapy just to deal with some things that, again, I was not equipped to deal with. And I was happy to listen, but I couldn't help. I was so out of my league, and I was like, I'll go. So I went. Found a great therapist. She recommended therapist for him. He went. And I was like, we're good.
Good. Excellent.
We broke up, but he might still be in therapy. So anyway.
I hated the way a partner of mine dressed. I really hated it. This comes up a lot. And how do I change? I said, you can dress me. I want to know what you think about what I wear, pick out my outfits, and that.
Oh my goodness, but if you didn't like how they're going to let the person who you think dresses terribly dress you.
I didn't.
That seems a little risky.
I asked him like what he thought of outfits more often and like what I was choosing. And for me, it was like, then that opened the door for me to give him advice about what he was wearing. Is this bad advice?
It's not what I would do.
Rather than saying, I hate the way you dress.
No, most of them just say things like, are you going to wear that? When they're obviously wearing it.
Well, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be like, this is something we talk about. It's how we both dress.
It's fine. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way. My personal opinion is you tell someone when you like what they do wear and tell them how sexy and how good they look. And you can also like go shopping. I did that with an ex of mine where we went to the Gap and like, let's like trying some clothes and just like over the top compliments. Oh my God, you're so sexy. Like anytime he did something that I liked, I doubled down on it. I think so. We like did more of it. And so many guys, I think, are just open to listening to their partners about how they dress.
I'm one of those who I hate shopping. I can't stand it. It bores me. It's tedious. So if somebody says to me like, I'll go shopping with you, I'll be like, thank you, because maybe it'll make it less painful. And so like a lot of guys just don't like the shopping experience. And so, I'll wear the same things over and over again because it means I don't have to go buy new ones. And so if someone is helping there, I'm open to it, but
Yeah. But Rayna, to say what you said, like, of course I like knowing if I'm dating somebody, what he likes to see me in. I just wouldn't be like, hey, go online and buy me some stuff. I don't even know.
He couldn't afford to buy me anything. So I didn't. Anyways, I derailed the sex conversation, but
no, I think we were.
Yeah, I think we could. I'm glad we talked about that and we wrapped it up. That was the other end of our sandwich, was the sex stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was really wonderful. And I read your book last night and I think it's really helpful. So tell people where they can find you, your website, your podcast, everything, and consume your writing.
So it's guywinch.com, GUYWINCH.com. We'll give you links to my talks, the podcast, articles, books in all the languages and everything. The podcast is with Lori Gottlieb, who you had last week. Yes. And we do live therapy sessions, which is always fun to listen to. And by the way, you don't have to send a boyfriend to therapy anymore. You can just send them to our podcast.
I love that.
It will do the trick a lot of the time.
Amazing.
That's so great. We're so lucky to have all these resources.
I know.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And you guys know where to find everything that we do. You can shop our product line at vibesonly.com and you can download the app on Android or iPhone. And again, there are these free features so you can get in there even if you don't have a subscription. And we hope that you subscribe. Follow Vibes Only at Vibes Only on Instagram. And that's the handle on Twitter as well. Girls Gotta Eat Podcast.com for everything you need. Girls Gotta Eat Podcast on Instagram. Ash Hess is my handle on everything. Rayna.Greenberg on Instagram. Tickets go on sale next week. So save the day for the holiday show in New York on December 15th. And we'll see you next week.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.